and invite us all to take a breath together. And exhale. So perhaps this song is even more relevant. And it goes like this. I am healing. I am healing. My body knows what to do. That's the part we'll repeat together. There may be times when it's hard. There may be times when I need help. And I know all I need is in front of me. I am healing. I am healing. Yeah. My body knows what to do. I'm surrounded by love, and I know friends are never far. When I need it, I know I'm healing. I know what I need. Last one is we are healing. We are healing. Yay, yay. We are healing. Yay. Our bodies know what to do. We're surrounded by love. We're surrounded by love, and we know friends are never far. When we need it, we know we're healing. We know what we need. We know what we need. We know what we need. Community, care, each other.
Oh, Joyous, I wish we could all come off mute right now and give you some love, but just thank you. Thank you for the medicine. It was just balm to my nervous system, to my spirit, and for all of us. Thank you, Joyous. We love you. So just letting that song, letting our bodies that know what to do to continue to settle, to connect with each other, to ground, to our ancestors, to spirit. As we move forward with this gathering today and holding all of it, holding the pain, holding the toxicity that we just received, and transmuting that with our love, with our songs, with our poetry. Just want to say a word about Thrive East Bay. We are a community in the making. We have been a laboratory of liberation and beloved community for the last 5 years. And we bring people together at the intersections of meaning making, of art, of social change and belonging. And we are guided by 4 main principles of supporting each other to live thriving lives, to bring our gifts and our medicine forward into the world. We are committed to love in action, to love as a verb, to love each other, to embody the future that we want, to create networks of care and support. We are committed to learning and unlearning and to be in practice together. We know that liberation, that beloved community, is not just a destination, it's a practice. It's how we show up with each other and call each other into deeper truth and love and integrity. And we are committed to transforming the systems and structures that have been rooted in domination and violence and separation, so that we can build a world of grounded in the truth of who we are, our interconnectedness, our sacredness. And our theme today is to heal all things. And so there are some questions that we're holding. How can we stay rooted in our ancestors and present to the future ones, so we can listen deeply and become the medicine our world is calling for? How can this time of great sickness give rise to a great healing for ourselves, for each other, the land, and all beings? And we are in a moment, y'all. We're almost a year into this raging global pandemic of the coronavirus that 4,000 of our beloveds every day, and disproportionately hitting the communities of Black, Indigenous, and communities of color. We are in centuries into the pandemic of colonization and white supremacy that is bringing us to the brink of social and ecological collapse, that is calling us to be the bridge, to be the medicine, to do the healing of all the things. And that's our portal. And that's our invitation and exploration today. And we're going to do that through song, through poetry, through storytelling, through prayer, through more song. And with our guest speaker, Lyla June, incredible poet, CJ Suitt. We just heard the voice of Joyous Dawn, and Austin Willacy is going to be closing us in song today. So I have the honor to introduce CJ Suitt. And I'm so excited and honored to introduce him, because his words bring the grief and the praise that we need for the healing of these times, to bridge the divides. He is the poet laureate of Chapel Hill in North Carolina. He is a performance poet, arts educator, and community organizer whose work is rooted in storytelling and social justice. He is committed to speaking truth to power and aims to be a bridge for communities who can't always see themselves in each other. He is making a long-awaited move into full-time artistry to facilitate dialogue in spaces that are often dominated by fear-driven stereotypes, and is the co-creator of the podcast Sitting in the Intersection, which explores the radical nature of relationships across differences. And I have a feeling it's just the medicine we need right now. So CJ, I'm handing it off to you. Thank you for being here with us.
Can y'all hear me? Thumbs up. Okay, great. It is an honor to be here. I was thinking as we experienced what we just experienced, is that there's a lot of hurt in the world. I experienced my own first trolling in my own personal accounts and things this week, and I was just like, wow, there is a lot of hurt there. There's a lot of feelings of harm, and as much as we gather with an awareness of our hurt, there are just as many people in the world who are not there yet, and so they act out of it, and it impacts us in the way that we just experienced. So I'm going to share 3 poems with you all tonight, and then I'll get out the way. As my auntie used to say so often, I grew up in a Southern Pentecostal church. You don't want to make people happy twice. Happy to see you get up, and then happy to see you sit down. So I'm gonna be quick. I'm gonna be quick. So 3 poems, and then I will move out of the way. When the pandemic first happened in April of last year, I had all these plans, as we all had plans, and they were completely like removed. And the universe said to me, all right, you're on artist residency. And essentially, I did a residency in my home that was inspired by a Bay Area movement and murals that I've seen called Trust Your Struggle. And it was a series of self-portraits, which you can see on my Instagram, and poems every day of April. And I tried to do that in November and got like halfway through, but this is number 10 from the first residency. Rehabilitation. You cannot heal in a vacuum. Air must hit the wound, sting you back to life. I hit the snooze button, pull the Band-Aid covers back over a marred mind, convince myself the sore is a bad tattoo. I am in love with its story. Pain, an attractive, unreliable narrator, she, universe, takes my hand, sees me multitudes, and pulls back the bandage once more. With her other hand, I wince. She hums a salve, sings life into the dying parts of me, bathes me in life, in light, asks me where it hurts. I consent to the adventure, remain open. She tells me I can pause when I need. Will it hurt? So good, she says. Do I get to keep the story? She tells me love never forgets, remembers to regenerate, recollects to reconstitute, nurtures bud into blooming, declares I can call her change or love or healing, a rose by any other name. Poems. Okay, so we'll go here next. Since we were talking about the pandemic, there are some poems I have to work really hard on, and some of them just come pouring out of me. And this poem really just came pouring out of me, and it was really about like imagining what the world might look like after all of this, after all the things, and really wanting to hold on and capture and remember in an embodied way the ways that I wanted to keep from the world that was before. There's a lot that we may not necessarily need to bring back in a post-pandemic, post-COVID world, but there are things I want to remember. And so, in the aftermath, I'm sure I'll feel like a tourist passing through my own life. I'll add up my subtractions, stand in the great divide, multiplying the things I have left. In the aftermath of all this, I'll sing with you in a choir stand on street corners, and at my favorite karaoke night, I'll stroll aimlessly around the mall, even though I hated the mall. We'll brush shoulders and walk down the same aisles. I'll make you a meal. I'll never leave the party without a really good excuse, and we'll dance, bump and grind, spin and dip. I'll give you a spoonful of my ice cream. I'll let you try my beer. A fork full of my favorite dessert. We'll pass homemade dishes around a full potluck dinner table. We'll have hugs so close and tight, the world will burst into giggles. I'll hold my friends' children, kiss the foreheads of my nieces and nephews. I'll bump your hand as we walk down the sidewalk. We'll hold hands without guilt. You won't have to look for the smile in my eyes above my mask. We'll get a window seat. As we watch friends and lovers gather on lawns and in courtyards, I remember the things that brought me strength, the ways I gave and was given to, how I made a feast of my feelings and served it up poem after poem, seeing myself both seed and tree. The world will see me in full color, Black and American. A resilient ancestry will hold our leaders and officers accountable. We won't be so well adjusted to injustice, and we will allow suffering to speak. We'll get to work and heal together. In the aftermath, I'll reach into my pocket for a letter from my past self that reads, I We'll be here for you. Yes, always and forever. Even when the world stops and the cards have all folded and you are in between the lines. Last poem. I had to sing a little bit because, you know, we here with the Thrive Choir. So I had to pick a poem where I could sing a little bit, you know. And then Joyous just, you know, set the bar high. So here we go. Here we go. Walk in the light, beautiful light. Come where the dewdrops of mercy shine bright. Shine all around us by day and by night. People, the light of the world. I said people, the light of the world. It is my world. It processes with me. If I stop, it stops. Keep moving, keep pushing. When they say it should all be the same. When they say God said it, when they say God is it, when they say God believes it, when they say God is white, when they say God is man, when they say God is jealous, vengeful, wrathful, when they say God would have it that way, like God is in the line at Burger King, when they say God believes in me, when they say God lives in a book, when they say God and evolution are two different things, when they say God don't dance, don't curse, don't party, don't hang out with people who don't shout out his son by bumper sticker, tattoo, or other bodily accessory, when they say who God is, when they claim who God was, when they legislate who he will be, when they say God hates fags, when they say God don't make people like that, when they say God is not the stone, not the tree, not the synaptic gap, when they say God is from earth, when they say God is from another planet, when they say God is the government, when they say God is not the government, when they say it is God's will, God let them die, decided we should live, when they say God don't give handouts, but he do give bailouts, when they say God believes in oil and fracking, when they say God is only Jesus, only Buddha, only Muhammad, when they say God hates your lifestyle, and they really mean you. When they say God hates you, and they really mean your lifestyle. When they say God hates your boyfriend, hates your girlfriend, says your brother's transgendered body is an abomination. When they say God hates, 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 when they say God kills, believes in war, eugenics, and massacres, the NSA in Guantanamo Bay. When they say God believes in predator drones and standardized testing in neighborhood schools and voter ID and covered women and loud men. When they say God don't like sex, don't have sex, it's not both infinite and intimate. When they say God gave men all the hard and authority and women all the soft and obedient. When they say they found him like God was lost somewhere in a segregated sandbox. When they say God is intolerant, progressive, Democrat, alt-right, a separatist. When they say Lord knows and we don't. When they say God made us in his image. When they say we were not given a God made in man's image, a jealous God, a God that needs to be served, worshiped, praised, a human God. It is our world. It processes with us. If we stop, it stops. Keep moving, keep pushing, even when they say it should all be the same. Thank you all so much. Keep moving, keep pushing, doing all the things you do. Keep loving your life, healing together. Yes, I'm right in here with you. I'm right in here with you. So yeah, thank you so much.
CJ. Oh, sorry, Arya, go ahead. I just wanted to say deep, deep bow of gratitude. Your poetry is medicine for these times, like few other things are.
It's true. Yeah, I feel necessary to have a breath, to take all of that magnificence and wisdom and truth in. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And it is now my pleasure to introduce Lyla June. Lyla is an Indigenous musician, scholar, and community organizer of Dine'é, which is Navajo, and I dare not pronounce the Cheyenne, the proper Cheyenne name. I hope, Lyla, you will forgive me. I just don't want to do it wrong. And also, she has a European in her lineage. Her dynamic, multi-generational presentational style has engaged audiences across the globe towards personal, collective, and ecological healing. She blends study in human ecology at Stanford, graduate work in Indigenous pedagogy, and the traditional worldview she grew up with to inform her music, perspectives, and solutions. She's currently pursuing her doctoral degree, focusing on Indigenous food systems revitalization. There's so much in that little chunk. I know that I didn't do it justice, and I am just truly honored to welcome back Lyla June. Lyla?
Thank you, dear. It's so good to be on this whole virtual thing with you, with all of you. And I too want to pray and express sorrow for the Zoom bombing, and also to speak prayers for those who, who felt so much fear that they had to do that, and who have become so lost. I've been lost too in life, very lost. I have harmed others because I became so lost. And so I just really want to express, forgiveness and love to them right now, because I actually know how it is when you're that lost. And yeah, just want to extend my forgiveness to them. And I appreciate all of you, inviting me onto this. CJ, your poetry is just stunning. Thank you. Thank you so much. And I just want to say I love the Bay Area. I don't know how you guys got so swagged out, like in all the ways, but you did. I don't know how that happened, but it's always cool to see what comes out of the Bay, of the young people there, and the elders and the children coming together into one united front to bring this healing. And I feel like it just makes me remember, like, maybe I should go move to the Bay or something. But in any case, I'll just introduce myself in the traditional manner to honor my ancestors. And then I'll speak on the topic we have today of to heal all things. And I'll share a few poems, maybe a few songs. And yeah, I'll see how it goes. So in the Dine'é language, which is my mother's language, we say, Ya'at'e shik'e aro shidine'e, which means greetings, my kin and my family. She'e nanisht eje tchachi inishli, from the Black Charcoal Streak Division of the Red Running into Water clan of the Dine'é Nation. We are also incorrectly known as Navajo. Cheyenne, Bashishchi. I'm still learning how to say Cheyenne properly too. That's one of my lineages I'm kind of further away from. But the way I hear the elders say it is tsetsesese. So it's sort of like a whispery language. It's a beautiful language. Bashishchi, which means my father's mother, is of that clan. Ashihe Deshiche, my mother's father's of the Salt clan of the Dine'é. Aro Bilagana E Deshanele, my father's fathers of the European clans, as far as I know. And Taos, New Mexico, Date Nasha, Akwit ego Dine'é Astanishni. I'm from Taos, New Mexico originally, and in that manner, I present myself as a Dine'é woman. So I just want to honor them in that way. So I want to share a poem called God is the Water, because I feel like it's just a soothing poem and it's a healing poem. And I think it's really pertinent in the light of what we experienced earlier, because recently I was running for office last year, actually this time last year, for state level office in New Mexico. And however dirty you think politics is, times that by 50, it is so profoundly mean. It's very mean. And it's very cutthroat. And I went in there thinking I could be like the native AOC and it was all going to be great and I was going to win. And I raised like $125,000 in 20 days. And I got donations from all 50 states. I was on a roll. My ego was like this big. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to win this thing. And of course, I was taking on the oil and gas lobby. So they didn't like any of that. And they just pulled what politicians pull, just normal stuff apparently. But they just came after me with a vengeance and just really dug into me and did what they could to rip me apart. And it was really painful, it was really painful. They turned my own people against me, on and on. And I went there 3 weeks ago to Santa Fe, New Mexico, where, I had done some of the campaigning. And I had some water with me. And I knew it was a year later. It was like an anniversary. So it's like, I need to do some prayers there, And luckily, I remembered to do forgiveness prayers. And the water I had with me, I poured it on the earth. And it was so beautiful because it just washed all of it. It washed all of it. And it's just amazing to me how grace can do that. Because it's like when the water was going into the soil, it was like melting all of that into like mud, and all of those little sand particles were merging into one homogeneous whole. And as it was doing that, I felt me merging with my former opponents into one homogeneous whole. And it was so beautiful. And I knew it wasn't me. It was the spirit of forgiveness that I was lucky enough to remember to call on. And it was just, even though the water was outside of me, it felt like it was just breaking apart that calcified whole of bitterness and hatred, and just completely breaking it apart and dissolving it completely until it was no more. And it all just, it's like my opponent, my political opponent, I was like, oh, I hate that guy. But it's like I reclaimed him that day as my brother. And, that's what we are, even if we forget. And so I feel like this poem speaks to that watery grace that just, I'm still in awe of it, decades after I learned about what grace was. I'm just still in awe of it every day. So here it goes. Okay. When I close my eyes at night, I can feel the rock being cut open by water. I hear a grandfather's song, and it sounds like sand walking down the river bottom. And in this song, they talk about how even the mighty canyon walls were carved by meandering streams. Beneath the gentle waters, there are people, not people like you and I, stone people. And when I close my eyes at night, I am one of them. And she courses over me until I am polished and smooth. She teaches me about patience and forgiveness. She teaches me how to be gentle, yet persistent. And in her language of trickles and bubbles, she speaks to me and she says, journeys, journeys, take them, but try not to forget who you are along the way. I have nothing for you but these words. So place them in your pocket and I will see you again when you arrive at the ocean's throne as 1,000,000 kernels of sand. Her voice hums in my blood, quiet as a stream in the night. And it is this song about how we are all just so loved. The eagles dip their talons into her soft body and pull from it a fish, a flesh meal for their children. They sing this grandfather's song with her, and it sounds like feathers cutting into the sky. And it is this song about how even hatred will surrender to wonder. She is breaking my heart apart like a stubborn granite puzzle of problems. And even the hardest doubts and sorrows give way to her infinite grace. And who knew that sometimes grace can come in the form of a raging river that takes away everything you thought you owned, all the blame and all the shame, and replaces it with a weightlessness so profound that you can't not cry. Tears of absolute praise, and run all around the riverbanks, shouting to the cattails and the minnows and the willows about the truth of beauty, about the truth of a creator that breathes through the trees, the truth of a creator that weaves winter from water and night, the truth of a creator that weaves our bodies from dust and light and carries us down the river of life over and over and over again until we finally understand the meaning of forever. Forever. In the language of the stones, there is no word for regret, only the complete understanding of what it means to be a beloved son or daughter. We are the rocks, and God, she is the water. So thank you for holding space for that. Yeah, okay. Well, I'll just keep doing music. I like music. I like these pre-written things. I bet CJ could possibly sympathize with me when I say that there's something, or not sympathize, but knows what I'm talking about when I say there's something so fun about being in that moment of performing and being in that sequence of that song or that poem and everyone's there together. There's something about it that's just so, I don't know, I have a great time. So I'll do some more songs and poems just because it feels good. I don't do this very often anymore because of, COVID. So it's fun. Okay. We were all given sacred duties to this land. Take care of Mother Earth and she will help you understand that everything we need is in the palm of her hands. No need to drill, mine, conquer, or extract. With faith in the Creator, we will blaze a brand new path. When we let go of fear, the greed turns into laughter. Unity of all people, that is what we're after. Cruising down the red road with sweetgrass on my dashboard. Used to drug and drink, but now I'm sober, now I'm faster. Sharp as a tack, he told me can't hold me back now. I just want to build a new world for my children. With love, prayer, and unity, this nation is rebuilding. Up from the ash of genocide and division. Red, black, yellow, white as one, that's the vision. Every race participates in this new beginning. Sacred is the masculine and sacred is the feminine. Infinite, indigenous, continuous, deliberate. Nothing can stop the people once they got their intention set. Some people say that the land can be owned. Some people say that the land can be owned. But deep in our hearts, we know that isn't so, because we don't even own this flesh or this bone. No, we can't take it with us on the soul's journey home. Now, the only thing we own is the lessons that we know. So when you wake from the slumber, to remember we are one beautiful people under one beautiful sun. We must also release all claims to the earth, because she don't belong to us. We belong to her. Mother Earth was meant to be a place where we could learn. We pray to Sapa for a blessing on the world. We practice satyagraha because violence doesn't work. We pray for those who are injured and those who injure. Unconditional prayers for the whole wide world. We sun dance year round. Yeah, we let the sage burn, because when we pray for the people, we will start to understand what it means to be true woman, what it means to be true man. Cradled in the arms of the sky and the sand, I'm just a strand in the tapestry of the master plan. Because together there is nothing that we cannot achieve. Together there is nothing that we cannot achieve. Find love, find healing, find unity. Honjon Nahasli, Honjon Nahasli, Honjon Nahasli, Honjon Nahasli. Thank you for hanging in there with me. That's kind of a longer one. Yeah, I'm just really grateful. And yeah, I have a few songs on this topic of, to heal all things. I think you guys picked a rather big topic. Like, so we just want to heal everything, if that's okay. And it's like, yeah, okay. That's a great plan. I think, and no, it really is, because what would that take? What would that really take? Would likely take a lot of listening to each other, a lot, which is something that I've heard from other people in other countries. They look at America and they're like, they don't know how to talk to each other. They don't know how to communicate. And I don't think that's our fault. I just think it was never modeled to us. I have a Haudenosaunee friend who's of the nations up there in New England. And I'm gonna mute you, Shireen. So she says, my mother is so good at the consensus process, which is an Indigenous facilitation technique, that she can make any enemy her friend if you give her 72 hours. And I just thought that was really interesting. And so, to heal all things, we need to listen to each other. And I think I'm preaching to the choir on that one, pun intended. But I think that we're also very much, you know, leaders in that regard in this community of how to listen to one another. And I know that as an Indigenous woman, the main thing I talk about in these talks and in these spaces is Indigenous rights, Indigenous perspectives, how to see us. And even being in the process of learning how to see myself as an Indigenous person, because even we as Native people have been drinking the Kool-Aid about who we are. Well, some of us have even come to accept the lie that we are primitive, we are stupid, we are savage, we are, yeah, the whole primitive thing that, oh, they're just like, you know, with their stone tools. It's like, no, our organizations were incredibly complexly organized. Our food systems, which is my PhD dissertation that I'm knee deep in right now, it's all about incredible biodiverse food systems that were managed on regional scales. We're talking oyster fisheries in the Chesapeake Bay that go back 10,000 years. We're talking clam gardens in the Pacific Northwest that cover 35% of the coastline, where they would have these huge clam habitat expansion projects, which brought the waterfowl and brought the sea urchins and brought everyone in. You have the Bella Bella, British Columbia folks to this day plant kelp forests along their shoreline, which increases the surface area for herring to lay their eggs. You have the Shawnee of Kentucky. We know by fossilized pollen and fossilized charcoal sediments that they managed a chestnut food forest for 3,000 years straight without it ever collapsing. We know for a fact that the Plains peoples, the Lakota, the Blackfeet, etc., the Cree, that they did patch burning throughout the Great Plains, which actually didn't harm the Great Plains. This low intensity patch burning actually increased biodiversity, increased the nutrient richness of the grasses, and it invited the buffalo to come to us. We didn't chase the buffalo chased us because we were good at expanding habitat. We were masters at ecological co-creation. We helped facilitate the whole system. This whole continent was extensively managed by Indigenous peoples. So when it comes to healing all things, for me, Indigenous food systems is one of many important windows into that world. If we can take a moment to rewind, step back and say, how did I get here? And how can I support the resurgence of Indigenous knowledge on the peoples whose homeland I am standing in real terms, in significant ways? Obviously, that's the thing I usually come to the table with, is how can I, Lyla, advocate among so many other Indigenous speakers and people who are youth that are rising up today. There's so many of us. It's so cool. How can I educate the world about how we see things so that the world can understand us better? That's how we heal things for my people, is that we are simply more greatly understood, that we were not primitive savages. And then on the other hand, we weren't these little fairy nymphs that never touched a blade of grass. We deeply rolled up our sleeves and heavily shaped the way the land looked and tasted. And those food systems are hard to see if you don't know what to look for, but they are there in the fossilized record and in our oral histories. And many of my brothers and sisters around Turtle Island are working to bring those food systems back. So invariably, whenever I get on these Zoom calls and we talk about healing, I usually end up talking about indigenous food systems, because to me, that is the nexus. That is the point where I can offer, and I'm very curious to know what you all offer, because I know every single one of us on this call has our own vantage point, our own gift to bring, you know, just like at Standing Rock. That's one of the things that made it so powerful, is that we all came with our gift, whatever that was. You know, some of us were good at media, some of us were good at facilitating circles, some of us were good at organizing marches, some of us were good at cooking, some of us were good at drone piloting. You know, we all came and we gave what we knew to give. And so this is what I know to give at this point in my life, is a little bit of an insight into just how much we don't know about what happened on this continent prior to colonization, and why that history has been erased, why the extensive management of this whole continent, clipping, burning, pruning, clearing, planting, helping to regenerate soils. We had some of the most lush soils here. The Amazon rainforest is co-created by human beings with their extremely advanced composting techniques. You know, that's what I know how to bring. And so it's just a little snapshot. And my hope in saying this is that I can inspire you to think about it. You know, that's it. When it comes to food, it's very important. It actually is incredibly related to this pandemic, because when you destroy habitat, you decrease the numbers of animal populations, and then they start to inbreed, right? You only have a few cougars left, or a few this left, or a few that left. They start to interbreed, or they become inbred. And when they become inbred, their immunity systems are much less efficient. So they get sick. And sometimes those sicknesses hop to human beings. So the destruction of habitat is absolutely linked to infectious diseases. And so it would behoove us on this call to pray and to think about ways in which we can be a part of healing those habitats in real terms. And my specific suggestion is to continue to look to indigenous food systems, because part and parcel of indigenous food systems is habitat stewardship, habitat enhancement, and in some cases, straight up creating habitat where there is none, creating spaces for life to thrive. It's like a bird bath on steroids, you know? You create huge places for the animals to thrive. And so I'll just leave you with that. I mean, this is my dissertation work, my doctoral work, so I'm obviously just very deep in it right now, and I can't help but share what I've been learning. And I'm working with the Duke World Food Policy Center to create an annotated bibliography, a reading list that you all can take a look at to see just how extensive this habitat stewardship really was, and how advanced it was in anything but primitive. So I'm just going to sing two more songs if there's time. What do you think? One more song or two more songs? I won't be offended if you say one.
Two.
Okay. Okay, so this one is called Boarding Schools. And I think it's related to what I just said, because obviously indigenous knowledge was, and indigenous food systems knowledge was heavily impacted by the boarding schools, which systematically destroyed our knowledge. When I was a little girl in the schools, yeah, they had me fooled. They said your native culture, it ain't got nothing for you. And if you want success, get a gold star, be the best. So I went to the best school I could find, and I left my culture behind. When my grandmother was a little girl, in the boarding schools, yeah, they had her fooled. They said that her dark skin was original sin, and if she wanted to be saved, then in Jesus' name she prays. So she left for college on a train, and she read her Bible every day. So when I have my little girl, she'll have everything she needs. She'll have a choice of food to be. She could speak her native language, and she can still love her neighbor, love the color of her skin, see the beauty that lies within, because we remember who we are, and that supremacy was a lie from the start. So you can cut this down, there's no stopping us now. Head held high, feet on the ground, elders' songs. We hear the sound, we hear the sound. I hear the sound, I hear the sound. You can cut this down, there's no stopping us now. Head held high, feet on the ground, sacred songs. We hear the sound. So that's just a prayer that we can all work together to facilitate Indigenous knowledge perpetuating into the future in every form, not just Turtle Island Indigenous knowledge, but even all around the world. And if you ask any Native person their dream, usually like 60% of the time, they'll say like, I want to make a school, or I want to do a youth education project, or I want to pass the knowledge on. It's all about like, how can we get our languages to not die? I mean, I'm laughing, but it's tragic. There's 200, I just got to get my drum real quick. There's 200 languages still spoken in US and Canada, Indigenous languages. And of those, 30, only 30 are spoken by the children and the grandparents. 30. That's not good. And of those 30, there used to be tens of thousands of languages. In California alone, there were over 80 Indigenous languages spoken that we know of. 80 mutually unintelligible. And now there's like 0. There's like 1 or 2 that are still spoken by the children. So I know that's one more statistic on top of so many that you all already know that's kind of disheartening, but my intent in saying that is not to dishearten, it's just to activate and to motivate and just to request your prayers, that's all. Even your prayers are so big, so helpful. So to pray for, and I keep saying my languages, but I know a lot of people on this call are Native American, Indigenous. Even if you look Black or you look white, a lot of us have those ancestors. And I for one think that that's okay to remember them. It's good to remember them, even if you're 1/8 or 1/16 or whatever, because the day we forget them is the day that the genocide is complete. Okay, this is the last song and then I'll hand it over. Indigenous people, shine your light, we are equal, yeah, yeah. I remember the days when our prayers were illegal. I remember the days when being Indian was lethal, yeah, yeah. Yeah, we had a rough past, but get ready for the sequel. Get ready for the glorious comeback of our people, yeah. Rise up, all you warriors of love, all you answers to the prayers of our ancestors from above. I could feel it in my heart. Can you feel it in your blood? I could hear the seventh fire calling us to wake up, wake all nations rise. Rise up, 'cause now's your time. We don't have to hide anymore, 'cause now's our time. With forgiveness as my bow and my prayers as my arrows, pull it back and let go. We watch them fly like sparrows. Have hope, have hope. With compassion as our shield and faith down to our marrow, we will walk the pollen path even when it gets narrow. Yeah, yeah. Resurrect. Yes, you can bet that we seen the single mama raising children on the res. We seen domestic violence tear apart what we have left. We seen the alcohol take it all and leave us dead. We seen the children take their lives when they can't take the dread anymore. No, we can't take the dread anymore. Or no, I won't take the dread anymore. 'Cause I can't take the dread anymore. Yes, it's a war, but we've seen it all before, and now we know we can change it, 'cause that's why we were born. We know we are the ones that we have been waiting for. Yes, we are the ones that grandma has been praying for, so rise up. All you warriors of love, all you answers to the prayers of our ancestors from above. I could feel it in my heart. Can you feel it in your blood? I could hear the seventh fire calling us to wake up. Pueblo hermoso, levántense, es nuestro tiempo. No tienes que esconderte más, porque ahorita es nuestro tiempo. This next verse is in Spanish to honor all the indigenous relatives who live south of that imaginary border. And even though it's not really their indigenous language, a lot of our relatives down there speak Spanish. So I want to just speak to that heart over there. Mujer indígena, tú eres tan sagrada y traigas medicina de tu suelo todavía. A pesar del abuso de tu cuerpo y tu tierra, respetamos tus ancestros y la suya cultura, hombre indígena. Tú eres honorable y yo veo la fuerza que todavía sobrevive a pesar del abuso de tu raza venerable. Yo respeto tus ritos, tus danzas, tus padres, guerreros del amor y guerreros de la paz. Sí, no vamos a escondernos más. We are warriors of love. We are warriors of peace. We will not hide ourselves anymore. All nations rise, rise up, 'cause now's your time. We don't have to hide anymore, 'cause now's our time. Yay. Thank you so much for holding space for that. I'm going to put a petition in the link. If you want to join us, we're trying to protect our Western sacred mountain from a ski resort's ongoing construction on our most sacred mountain. So there it is in the chat. You don't have to do it now, but before it's over, please take the time to, sign it if you don't mind, and keep an eye on this cause. Thank you.
Lila, you just were such a bright and shining light. Thank you so much for your offering to us this afternoon, and for reminding us that, the story that we live with is incorrect. And the original story has been not told to us. So we all owe ourselves to finding out about that story. So thank you so much for that information. So much of what you shared was new to me, and I would imagine to many on this call, and very valuable, and just really, really wonderful. So Arya, I'm going to turn it over to you. Yeah, please.
Thank you. Yes, Lyla June, thank you for reminding us of the power of listening, the power of listening to each other and to the land, to Indigenous knowledge, traditional ecological knowledge of how to co-create those conditions for life to thrive, for our food systems, and just your story of forgiveness. Like it really moved me, and I think invited all of us into that practice, and that freedom that comes, when we're able to forgive ourselves and each other. Thank you so much for your songs, your poems, your beatboxing, your teachings, your tears. And thank you, CJ, for your beautiful, beautiful poetry and your bridging spirit, and just all that you brought in Joyous Dawn for your beautiful song in the beginning. And we're not done, y'all. We have one more song. And before I introduce Austin, I just want to invite you all to help us keep building with Thrive East Bay. We will be offering, Joyous will be hosting a virtual concert. We're lifting up our musicians, our artists. That will be on Saturday, February 20th. Next Thrive Sunday will be March 7th. We come together the first Sunday of the month. There is a spiral of resilience, a practice rooted in the work that reconnects, a root teacher of Joanna Macy, that we meet the first Wednesday. So check out Thrive East Bay for our events. And we will be launching in April a 9-month journey of building and becoming beloved community through bridging, building, and belonging. And so each month we will be offering we will be diving deep into a particular theme and practice of how we do that together, with a curation of events and thought leaders and practices and resources. So stay tuned for that. If you want to stay connected with Lyla and CJ, please check out the links in the chat. And my delight is to bring Austin Willacy into the mix to close us out. He is the co-director of Thrive East Bay Choir, a singer, a songwriter, a performer, a facilitator, an amazing hugger. I miss hugging you, Austin, so much. It's been over a year. I can't believe it.
Wow.
And a mentor artist. And just so y'all know, like, Austin is incredible. He is a member of the House Jacks. If you haven't checked them out, a men's a cappella phenomena, and they have produced 10 full-length albums and completed multiple world tours. And for the past 24 years, Austin has directed Till Dawn, a youth and arts award-winning teen a cappella group, empowering youth to find their voices in so many ways. And so, Austin, thank you for bringing your music and closing us today.
Thank you, Arya. Miss you. Love you. And I want to, again, just shout out CJ and Lyla and Joyous for both opening, Joyous opening, and also transmuting, as you used that beautiful and perfect word, Arya. the experience that kind of began our time together. And I feel like so much of the pain that I experience, either personally or that I'm reading about, is about scarcity. Ultimately raised in this sort of capitalist culture, it's about competition for a finite amount of resources. And that scarcity reframes the way that I feel about myself, the way that I feel about how much I need to eat, how much I need to buy, how many pairs of shoes and pants and all this I'm supposed to have. And one of the things that I was thinking about with this theme, Healing All Things, is trying to get to it some way at the root of it. And so for the folks who crashed this experience, I, like Lila, want to send them prayers, and also the reminder that they are enough already, that I am enough, that all of you who are here are enough. There's a song called "There's Enough Love Left" that I'm going to sing, and I'm going to give you a part to sing on it. I invite you to stay muted. Otherwise it will probably be cacophony. There are two words that I need you to sing. One is the word you, and the other is the word me. And the melody goes like this. You, ooh, 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 ooh. You, ooh. I'll do it again. You, ooh, 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 you, ooh. And the second time, it's just the same melody. The word is me. And I invite you to forget all of the ads that you saw or heard that told you that you were not enough, and to, at least for the next 4 minutes or so, breathe in the knowledge that you are enough. There is enough love for you. There is nothing so wrong you could ever do to make me stray too far away, to make it back to you, 'cause I know you're worthy. There's enough love left for your worst and best. And with every breath, know you're blessed, 'cause there's enough for you, for you, you, for There is enough love left for me when I am overwhelmed and feel that I'm too weak to lift my head out of my hands. I don't think I'd find anyone else who understands. There's enough love left for my worst and best. And with every breath, I know I'm blessed, 'cause there's enough for me, for me, There's enough love left for the world. love. Enough for them, enough for us. When you feel like giving up, you were worthy. Oh Lord, enough for you, enough for me. When you find it's hard to see that you were worthy. Oh Lord, enough for them, enough for us. When you find it's hard to trace, you were worthy. Oh Lord, you are worthy. Oh Lord, I am worthy. Oh Lord.
Yes.
Yes, we are enough. Yes, thank you, Austin. Thank you, Lyla. Thank you, CJ. Thank you, Joyous Dawn. Thank you, all of you. Thank you, Zahara and Rhea. Love you. We love you. Let's heal all the things.
All right, know all the things. Okay, I think that's a wrap.
The chat is back on, y'all. If you want to share some love, deep gratitude to everyone for just hanging in this journey and bringing the love, the forgiveness, the healing, and the remembering. Deep bow of gratitude.